Dear ladies and gentlemen, in a minute we will start. Please take your seats. We continue the work of Ukraine Crisis Media Center. The topic of the next event is presentation of the register of dumped cases by the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office. Our speakers are Vitaliy Shabunin, Chairman of the Board of the NGO Anti-Corruption Action Center, and Olena Shcherban, lawyer and a member of the Board of the NGO Center, Anti-Corruption Action Center. Now the floor is given to Vitaliy Shabunin. With great pleasure. It is sad. So we do not have SB officers here, and maybe it will be of interest for them, these pictures we present now. For 1.5 years, we have been informing our partners about the prosecutors of SAPO. They make some actions that harm investigation, and we got tired of this. And this register is the collection of cases where we describe specifically what demands we have to these officials. So we put all this information on one site. So now we have it on the screen, this picture. So SAP fails.org.ua. So what we want to show by this register, we would like to remind the journalists and partners about the role of prosecutors in the process. Unfortunately, during last year and previously, people didn't understand that the key figure in all the cases, prosecutor is the key figure. If prosecutor wants to ruin the case, he will do it at the pre-trial stage. If there is attention to the case, this attention may force the case to be brought to court, where the prosecutor can dump it. So if the prosecutor do not want to dump the case, but want to investigate properly, there is no force that can prevent this. So if they do not like the work of the detectives, these detectives can be replaced on the request of the prosecutor. So we provide this register of cases, and facts show this, that some prosecutors of SAP and their heads ruined some cases. So what is the aim of our project? We want to show cases that can be brought to court and to guilty verdicts. And we hope that attention to these cases won't leave the maneuvers for prosecutors, those prosecutors who want to ruin cases. Do we know about other cases? Yes, we know about them. But in this register of cases, there are cases that we can prove in a concrete way. And the next stage is when those cases will be revealed, and we will place them also on our site. So I know that prosecutors watch us. We want to praise you. We want to be proud of your work, of your achievements. You always have a choice, especially in cases where procedural things are done. No one can tell you what to do or what not to do. You have personal responsibility for those cases. Also, tactical story. We believe that the attention to these cases, and there are cases, that Avakov's case can be helped. We did everything we could, but it is evident that the justice won't be made in this case. But the prosecutors, they should do their work properly. And there are such cases in the register. If prosecutors do their work right, we will deactivate them in the register. So we would like that those cases where we have suspicions about prosecutors, so we hope that prosecutors will do their work properly. And please, the next speaker, Olena, is given the floor. Good afternoon. Dear colleagues, I would like to tell you in more detail why we have such conclusions and where do we get this information from and why these cases are dumped, we believe. So we analyzed a lot of factors. The Anti-Corruption Action Center analyzes a lot of cases. We do not only analyze them, we attend court hearings, we hear carefully the opinion of prosecutors during these court hearings. We analyze their position, we analyze the information from the register of decision of courts, the actions of prosecutors and the materials with which they go to court. So also we analyze public information starting from the interviews of prosecutors in the media, and we come to our conclusions concerning those cases. And here there is a collection of cases, and we deeply believe that they are dumped by the SAP. And I would like to speak about the case, and I believe that this is really bad for SAP. So this is the case of the Avakov's backpacks. So the Krichun Vasil closed the case concerning key figures in this case and this crime. So why this case is dumped? Because SAP, together with detectives, they carried out investigation and got evidence, and prosecutor took the decision that the case is closed, and they got enough evidence to send the case to court. And in the summer, the prosecutor changes his opinion and closes case concerning two important figures in the case. And in the process of the closure, this happened in the moment when in Ukraine they took decision to create anti-corruption court, and this happened at the moment when the head of SAPO was investigated by the prosecutor's office and also by the Commission of Prosecutors. So this influenced on the position of SAPO in this case, and there are other facts, and we've described them for the media. And the prosecutors closed the case, and then they rethink this, and they and the video materials were watched by the whole country, and people in this video, they spoke about the money and the buying of this backpacks, but prosecutors, they rejected this evidence, and we believe that they did it incorrectly. After the case was completed by the prosecutor, he restarted investigation, and he decided to speak with Vakov and Chebatar, and they decided to provide evidence, and this was a scheme invented in order to close the case. And the peak was the agreement between the deputy of the Khodorenko and so Litvin agreed that he is guilty of fraud in another crime, actually, and according to the criminal proceedings, he should provide information about someone, and he revealed a person who died in 2015 because of heavy oncology, and because of this illness, he could not organize such a crime. And on the video, we saw who are real violators. So there are other cases, and in our monitorings during processes where our lawyer was present, the same prosecutor Krichun brought an agreement, an indictment was sent, and a lot of evidence was collected, and his agreement was illegal because in this agreement he requalified the case. So the article was 191, and prosecutor decided to change the qualification and to make an agreement, and he also allowed the person not to attend the court hearings, and parallel there is an economic court proceedings, and this person didn't participate in this court hearing. And this complicated the process of returning of assets in the form of 14 million. Also, you may see the case concerning the former head of Central Election Commission, Mikhailo Hindovsky. When this case was started, Nazar Khalodnitsky repeatedly in many interviews declared that this case will be brought to court, and this is his principal position then. There were a lot of arguments presented, and the case is not in the court, and we believe that it won't go to court. So our key idea in these cases, we want that SAPO prosecutors being procedural heads, and they have all opportunity for this, they should show how to bring cases to court and punish corrupt people, and now they only say why they cannot do this. And I would like to state that detectives of NABU, without agreement with the detectives, they cannot make procedural actions such as searches, they cannot have temporary access, they cannot serve a charge. So everything should be coordinated with prosecutors. That's why prosecutors in cases, they have a big role, and results in court depend on prosecutors. So we collect, and we will continue to collect these cases. And if these cases will be corrected, we will be ready to mention this. But such actions of prosecutors, they should be visible, they should be collected, and we want that prosecutors understand that we monitor them, and we will highlight all their actions on the site we present today. So today, now we have several minutes for questions. Please introduce yourself and ask questions. If you have questions, please ask. Good afternoon. Mr. Shabunin, I would like to ask a question. I'm ready to be Kholodnitsky. Give me his responsibility, and I will serve a charge to this person and other persons and will return his responsibilities. I do not have legal education, but it didn't prevent Lutsenko, so I will be like Lutsenko. I would like to ask you, we understand that SAPO, they have some corruption scandals, but we have also NABU. Can you answer such a question? It is known that Sitnik recently sold undeclared land plot in Crimea. Did you ask him about this? So if you asked him, what was the answer? So I'm not connected with NABU now, but we do not know whether he sold it. So there are different stories. We follow criminal proceedings. So this is not about declarations. We cannot follow all this. We do not have such responsibilities. What we see, people say that these people sold something or did something, but we are speaking about the proceedings, the processes. So this is not about information on some sites. This is a visible process. We do not go into the stories that are not the part of proceedings. Yes, I wait for the comment of Sitnik on this. There is information now that someone knows about something, but I cannot assess this. It is important on this side, we are speaking only about criminal proceedings. We do not speak about SAPO, Anti-Corruption Court, NABO. We are speaking only about processes. This is the main. So this is the answer. One more question. Thank you. Look. So there is big attention of the public, but it didn't help in case of backpacks. So if it didn't help, in this case, why the register would help? Well, so the case of backpacks, it really helped. It became the bright example that there is problem in SAPO, and everyone saw this. I would like to remind you of one vector of this case. Avakov was not really concerned about it. There was a suspicion, but Avakov didn't try to close this case. Until what moment? Do you remember why the story started with this case? Why Khalidnitsky did it? Because any lawyer understands that after materials to the defendants are open, so you may just put the word bribe taker on your forehead. So this was about the law of anti-corruption court. First, was not of concern because when this law was adopted, they saw that there is a chance that if the court will be normal, then he will be found guilty. That's why Avakov tried to close this case, and Khalidnitsky acted swiftly. So there is an answer of prosecutors, and those who are not deep in this topic, they do not know who is guilty or who is not guilty. And Avakov's case was the threshold. And journalists and international partners started to pay more attention to these cases. And we believe that we have precedents. And there is attention of journalists, of NGOs, and this moved the cases forward. Not all the prosecutors of SAP are ready to take this story on them concerning ruining of the cases, of dumping them. Many of them are ready, but not all. So we have precedents when the cases were moving ahead. Also about the heads of SAPO. So the more cases we have now, the more you write about them, the more the chances that political elites won't be able to have everything on their places as they have it now. So how we can resolve this? First, Lutsenko should sign suspicion to Khalidnitsky. That was provided by Aquarium case. So they just should sign the charge, and then the restrictive measure will be provided. Lutsenko should sign the suspicion, the note of suspicion. It is ready, but it is not signed. Second, if Lutsenko won't do this, Parliament may vote, and there will be reloading of the heads of SAPO, and this is within the obligations of the Parliament. And we hope that before elections or after elections, they won't have the choice, and they will do it. So there should be a chance for renewal. And if SAPO does not work, all the system is not working. NABO may be good or bad, but the prosecutor may ruin any case. So if NABO, SAPO, and court is working, then we will have guilty or no guilty verdict. And at the end, we will have these verdicts. But SAPO should work properly in order that the system function. So time is up. You may ask other questions of records. Thank you for your attention. So we remain here Okay, thank you.